So, we're going to talk about digital reading skills and how that fits into our curriculum and some of the skills that we need to continue and embed into our instruction every day. My name is Lindsay Stevenson. I'm out of Overland Park, Kansas. I am an instructional coach at Shawnee Mission South High School and a digital learning coach for the district secondary schools in Shawnee Mission School District. If you would like these slides, you can see in red on about the first half of them, I have the bit.ly, and so please feel free to get these slides and then to use them and activate them and use any of the hyperlinks that are within them as well. What is digital reading? What we read, how we read, and why we read change how we think. Changes now that are continuing at a faster pace. So we know, like back when we used to play Oregon Trail and Zach Morris had the Zach Morris phone, that was back when I grew up. And then in between now and then, we had the pagers, the purple pager in high school, the flip phones, and some larger computers. And now we have these skinny touch screens in our hands. Anytime we want them, we can read, we can research, we can communicate. And so that is definitely something that's changing how we do day-to-day life, how we read, how we teach, how we learn. So our students are generally using their screens and devices for social media. So we want to shift in our teaching to help them slow down and use it for literature and reading and information. So we have kids that can actually be clicking the 15 things and giving a thumbs up and saying hi. And so this is what they're used to doing. And that is actually kind of like digital reading. Digital reading is non-linear. Many things are going on at the same time. We have to make decisions about, are we going to click through those 15 things or give a thumbs up to our friend? We have to think about these things when we're reading, just different decisions to be made. Marianne Wolf is optimistic that we can learn to navigate online reading just as deeply as we once did print, if we go about it with the necessary thoughtfulness. So, thinking through, there's the paper debate. Is paper going to be improving comprehension skills? Well, yes and no. If you have a complex text that you want students to read and understand, I suggest using paper. If you have general readings or readings that are on grade level or slightly below, I would say these can be done digitally. If we learn to slow down our readers, their comprehension can deepen on the digital version of our text. So how does this change how we're teaching reading now? So there are really like 8 main reading skills. Determining the main idea or theme, depending if you're reading fiction or nonfiction. Analyzing the characters, if there are any. Citing or identifying details or evidence. Identifying word meanings and connotation. Understanding the point of view. Identifying and understanding text structures and purpose. Drawing inferences while reading, and evaluating the information as we're reading it. So if we think of these 8 main reading skills, and then when we assign a digital reading, or any reading for that matter, pick 1 or 2 of those, regardless what content we teach, to start embedding as purpose in our reading. So digital reading, we can improve that comprehension if we slow down our readers, actively engage them in a task while they're reading, discuss what's happening orally, and then have them reflect on what they read. So, what do we already do that's working? Generally, in most practices of teaching, we're going to model what we want from them. We know to build on that background knowledge that already exists, and we generally have some type of annotation system that we're already using. Are we including those digital literacy skills? Most likely not. So, we pick 1 or 2 reading skills that we really want to hone in on and focus on as our purpose for the read. Then we're going to look at some digital literacy skills that students also need, and how can we incorporate these as tasks in our digital reading. Highlighting tools, hyperlinking, scrolling, toggling tabs, using the trackpad on a MacBook or a laptop, collaboration features. And then we have to consider, so there's kind of 3 phases that we're going through here. The next set that we need to choose from and consider is digital reading. How are we going to slow them down? How can we have them organize the text? How can we do think alouds or comment features? How can we identify main ideas and key details as we're reading? How can we collaborate and defend? How can we create those annotations and then the feedback from our teacher? So I highly suggest you pick some type of digital annotations, some type of system that you want to use for your um, class all the time digitally. Like they're always going to highlight the main idea. They're going to bold words that have strong connotation. They're going to underline the details. And then can they use the comment features? Mark Pennington, a reading specialist, believes that there will be always room for both print and digital reading in school. In the meantime, he will continue teaching kids how to annotate because giving students the ability to talk to the text, create an internal dialogue with the text, is the best way to help students understand what they're reading. So here is a sample reading that I use with teachers. And what we need to do when we do start introducing digital reading is we read aloud with them first. They're looking at their screens, we're reading aloud. We demonstrate that it is okay to start exploring those hyperlinks. It is okay to read linearly because sometimes they just need that permission. We demonstrate kind of going through those hyperlinks and why we're choosing to do that and what it takes us to. We're going to use the digital annotation that the class is to use, and we're going to use the comment features as well. So the next piece here is having some type of discourse structure. Those graphic organizers that are going to help them to sort through, is this compare, contrast, cause, effect, sequential order, problem, solution? What is it that is communicating this message? So we'll have them use that graphic organizer after they digitally read to go back, and then using a Google Doc or Google Draw or Kami, we'll have them start to fill in this graphic organizer. Continue to let your students understand that digital reading is not linear. We need to limit the distractions. We need to cue permission to click on hyperlinks or explore pronunciations or looking up words. We need to redirect them back to the text when there's been significant time to go off task, and then provide open-ended discussions about what they read. And then continuing to synthesize this information through graphic organizers, through online options like EasyBib is an option that's going to help them really synthesize all the sources if they're doing something that's research. Diigo is going to help them to synthesize by topic and all the articles and online annotations as well. It's important to help them know the shortcuts when they're reading digitally, like Command F to find a word. I use that all the time doing graduate work or trying to find something in a document, knowing that they can do Control or Command F depending on what type of device they have. How to copy and then paste it in a formatted version. So Command or Control, V, and Shift allows you to paste something exactly in the way that the font and size and everything is in the paper you're pasting it into. Up and down scrolling, switching between windows, and inserting a comment. Those are all just really good shortcuts to help our kids understand how to use them in our computers in their day-to-day life. According to survey data from the 2015 National Assessment of Educational Progress, only about 1 in 10 fourth graders use computers to access reading-related websites on a daily basis or nearly every day at school. About 30% of students in fourth grade classrooms never, hardly ever, use computers to access such reading material in school. So right now, our younger readers is where it's starting, is that they're not accessing digital reading. So for our older grades right now, knowing that, we need to probably make things a little bit more specific and scaffolded for them, knowing that they haven't had this experience before. And then in our younger grades, it's really important that we start embedding digital text into what they're doing. So one way to do that is having specific annotations that they can do, using using highlighting tools, using graphic organizers, having them read as a group and discuss as they're marking and planning together, reorganizing the text so they're copying parts of the text and pasting it into different columns. We cannot go backwards. As children move more towards immersion in digital media, we have to figure out ways to read deeply there. So Newsela or Newsela, I've heard it pronounced many different ways, is interactive. It has various contents. Lexile does adjust. You have to train and teach your students what is the Lexile and when is appropriate to move it up or down for their reading abilities. It has close read questions, and it tracks your progress. So this would be one of the sites that I think would be super easy to embed into what you're doing every day or every week with just using current events. Digital ReadWorks is another one, is by content. It's like all content levels, all reading levels. So even if you teach like 10th grade, you can find a 4th grade reading level on mitosis. It has text-based question sets and vocabulary support, human voice audio readings, and paired texts. Actively Learn is a site that I truly love. It has an opportunity for collaboration. The teacher can actually follow and see where students are in the reading and help them to deepen that comprehension through the close read setup that is designed in the program. It does have the text can be spoken, it defines words, and it translates. Beeline Reader is primarily for dyslexic readers. The ADD it helps with ADD vision impaired students as well. It increases the speed of reading for any reader, and it actually like changes and shades the words and sentences in different color shades so that it helps those readers that struggle with different disabilities or different issues with their reading. Cami allows our students to um, annotate right there in Cami with their reading, so we can use PDFs and allow them to annotate those. Um, it also allows for feedback from the teacher. Ego has highlight tools, comment tools, outliners, and collaborative features so they can share with the students. They can work in a group to collect research. We've got the highlighting tool. So if you go into a Google Doc and you go to add-ons and go down to and get the highlight tool, once you use that highlight tool, you can set up different colors for different things within your highlight tool, and the students can then highlight. And then what it does is it breaks it down into a table for them automatically, and they can turn in that table or they can turn in the whole document when they're done. Read and write. So there's a read aloud with dual color highlighting. There's translator, talking pictures and dictionaries. There's a fact finder. There's study skill highlighters, vocabulary, and annotation and navigation tools. So this is one that I generally use for my special education students that need the need a read aloud. It is an extension that goes into any Chrome browser, and it basically reads whatever is on that website or the page that is pulled up. Finally, if you're having students look at websites or articles, insert learning is one way that you can make that an interactive website. You can make it something um, that students are interacting with as they're reading it. So again, slowing them down, deepening their reading, and taking that time to really annotate and note what they're doing. Read Theory is a great one to help with digital reading. It aligns and shifts with Lexile levels, and it has Common Core questions embedded into it. So it's super strong program for improving the comprehension. So in the end, thinking about like what changes can you make to how you teach in your reading class, taking some of the information today and embedding that. So if you go to this website and you click on, that's not it. Or if you go to not the website, if you go to my slides, I have a planning sheet that will be attached here in that first slide. And on the planning sheet, you can look at those lists and start to really think out, what are the reading skills I'm going to use? What are the digital literacy skills I want to use? And what are those deeper digital readings? So I will embed that in that first slide. So you will have an opportunity to go to the red link and then click on, I'll put a little document here so that people can take notes. All right. I hope everyone has learned a lot, and I will be available to chat and answer questions. So I will talk to people soon.